Hello and welcome to week 6 of In the Trenches with Mo and Hess. He's Mo and I'm Hess, both former NFL veterans. And here we go. Week 6 in the NFL season is just about over. We got 2 more games to be played. But as we look at what's going on in this NFL season, Mo, what are your overarching thoughts, man? You got anything?
Hey, there's some good football going on. I mean, it's the NFL. Every week, any given Sunday, you can lose. A team will pull your card, and it's been shown. Right now we only got one undefeated team left. Dirty Birds barely got away from our Raiders today, but we're going to talk about that later.
Well, that any given Sunday thing resonates. I mean, you look at Tom Brady and the Patriots going out to Seattle. Now, I think it's very hard to deny Seattle's a real football team. That's a hard place to go play, as I'm sure you know, in that new stadium. But, they go out there and really, they're going to send Tom Brady home with a L. And that's impressive in my mind. They seem to be doing it the old-fashioned way. When I look at these teams, the New York Giants, you look at Houston, at Atlanta, and now Seattle, they're doing it the old-fashioned way, the way we were brought up. I mean, they run the football, they play solid defense, those teams tackle real well. And, as we look at the Giants, it seems like, every few years they start off rough and then something just happens. They turn it on. And I think that speaks to them going back to the fundamentals.
Well, the old saying is defenses win championships. And all the teams you just listed, all of them have phenomenal defenses. Yeah, it's a team concept. But when them boys get on the field from New York, Seattle, and 49ers,
right,
and Houston, them boys are coming off that ball, and they're playing with a fire that you don't see much anymore. And it's a team effort. But on the offensive side of the ball, they also have great offensive schemes which allow their quarterbacks not to have to win the game, but to manage the game. And, Pete Carroll, especially in Seattle, their young quarterback, he has found a way to manage the game with his quarterback, pound the ball on the ground, and he has that defense flying around the field. There's
no doubt. I mean, when you look at what's happening in Seattle, and I'm not a Seattle apologist, but they believe in that coach. He's got them out there playing with a mission, and they believe in what they're doing, and it's obvious on the field. They're winning football games.
Well, they're having fun. I mean, you look at his energy from Coach Carroll. He's excited. He's like a college kid out there. He reminds you a lot of Brett Favre when he was playing the game. He enjoys the game, and that type of energy is spreading through his team, and that type of energy is spreading throughout the organization, the city of Seattle, and it's resonating on the field every week for them.
Well, it's interesting, man. I look at my Lions. We came out, today and won an overtime game at Philly, and the game went back and forth, frustrating, for me as I look at it. 15 penalties. I think we set a record today for the most penalties in an NFL game. I get so frustrated looking at these penalties. Obviously my heart bleeds blue with the, Honolulu Blue, but, talk to me about these penalties, man. I mean, the lack of discipline, it drives me crazy. And I think about one of those things I always remember hearing about the Raiders growing up in Southern California, that commitment to excellence. It's taken from a piece of that Lombardi quote, you know what I'm saying? You played on a championship team. I always thought the Raiders played dirty. But on the championship team you were on, talk to me about that discipline, man. Y'all didn't have that many issues with penalties.
Well, we had our issues, but we played hard. And, Raider ball, we call it Raider ball. It's not dirty. We believed in the Raider organization from the time you walked through their gates in Alameda for the training facility that you was going to be a physical football player. You didn't play the game in Oakland just to play the game. You played the game to hurt somebody. I mean, and that's the way, and that trickled down from the owners. It's the trickle-down effect like we was talking about with Coach Carroll a second ago. And what's happening now is you have a lot of me guys. And they're looking for that big hit. They're looking for that wow factor. And they're just going after me. And you don't see that true team concept. Yeah, Ray Lewis and the Ravens, they going to have it every year because Ray is not going to allow that to die. Mm-hmm. And another thing that made us a championship team, we had true veteran leadership. We had guys who have been to the mountaintop, as you want to say, Jerry Rice and Tim Browns. And, we had all those guys, but they were leaders. They wasn't any better than the next man in that locker room. And we held each other accountable. Yeah, if I made a penalty, yeah, that's my bad. But I'm gonna make 10 good plays for that penalty, and that's how we live. That's Raider style. Just win, baby.
Absolutely. You talked about Al Davis and what came down from the ownership. When we look at the league across the league now, I see two teams where I feel like I see the owner too much. The owner seems to be too involved, and that's we think about the Redskins with Dan Snyder, and you think about Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, or as I call them, the Cowgirls.
Yeah.
Those two teams seem to always have issues with the owners being involved. What's your thinking on that?
Well, Snyder, he came out with a big checkbook, writing the big checks, and he figured he could buy himself a championship. And
wrong answer.
After losing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, he realized you can write all the checks you want unless the guys you got to write for the job is not going to happen. And recently, in these recent years, he is falling back. You don't hear much about Snyder anymore. He's giving that team to Coach Shanahan, and Coach Shanahan is running that team. But on the flip side of that, you have owners like the Jerry Jones. He created a brand in Dallas, the Cowboys. It's the big stars. Now, let's be honest, they should be upside down moons because every time you see them play, you want to frown. But he knows that brand is him. And he's trying to brand that team, and it's going to withstand the decades, as withstand the test of time with Tony Romo's era, all these other players. The main constant in that organization will always be Jerry Jones. His signature is on every part of it. And he's going to make sure it stays that way. That's his team, and he's going to run it that way. He's going to continue to run that way. As long as people and the fans keep supporting that team and they keep putting money in his pocket, he has no reason to change. That's how you vote in professional sports or professional entertainment is, if you come, you pay, then they do what they want to do until you stop paying.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say in today's NFL, in this current era, they won't win a championship with them doing it that way. It just seems like when you have an owner that's a general manager and those things, that doesn't seem to be the formula of success in today's NFL. Time will tell and we'll see. You brought up, with the Redskins, Daniel Snyder giving the team to their head coach. Tell me what you think about RG3. I mean, we see him last week. He goes out with a concussion. We obviously know the guy's got talent. But, he comes out today and plays really, really well. I mean, what's the difference? I mean, they've had quarterbacks in the past that have been talented. They had the Donovan McNabbs. They've had other talented players they haven't seemed to get as much out of. What do you think about what's going on there?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, I think Shanahan wants to win to the point now he's willing to adapt and adjust to what his quarterback's strengths are. He knows he has a special talent, and he wants to build a team around that special talent. That's his future quarterback. Donovan McNabb, Albert Hayesworth, other guys that came through that organization that were not Shanahan guys, he did not only not want them to play for him, he didn't want them to play anymore in the league. Ooh. And as when Coach Shanahan's finished with a guy he doesn't like, they're pretty much finished with the NFL. And that's the standard he set. So with him, RG3 is in a great position. He loves him. He's winning. And he has the city of D.C. excited again.
Right on. Well, I'll tell you what, I think they've hitched their wagon to the right guy. I mean, the talent that he's shown to this point, if he can keep from getting his eggs scrambled, as you said last week, I think he'll be all right. But before we wrap up, I see you wearing the shirt here. Tell me a little bit about the Charlotte Speed. What's going on with that?
Well, I've recently been hired as the general manager of an indoor football team, professional indoor football team, and professional indoor football league. And I want to put my mouth where my money was. I'm always talking about these coaches. I talk about GMs. I talk about the game of football. Well, I had the opportunity to build my own team from the ground up and put together my own personnel, put together my players, and see if I could do it my way, the old school way, the right way, and help build these younger guys a character and hopefully put some of them in the league, in NFL, CFL, AFL in the future.
Right on. Well, it's good to hear. We're going to look forward to hearing about how things go and give the people more details about how we can find out more about that.
Yeah. Well, you can check us out. GoCharlottespeed.com. We're the newest, fastest game in Charlotte. Right on.
Well, for Mo and Hess, we're signing off week 6 of the NFL season. We'll see you again next week.
Come on, Raiders. We can do it.